Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Go ahead, hit the like, hit the share. This video, we're talking about Surviving R. Kelly, The Reckoning, which will be airing tonight. And my position is the same as it was months ago. And I don't know why people just keep holding on to this little glimmer of hope that they're going to air something good about R. Kelly. That's not the plan. I don't care who they put on there. Remember the facts. From what other people have said, if they had nothing to slander R. Kelly, they were not aired. So you're going to have a hard time convincing me that they have a pure agenda in adding certain individuals. If you ask me, they've only added them to try to spark your interest. But at the end of the day, if you've been following the story, you should know what they have to say, whether you believe it or not.
Robert said, "Don't believe everything you hear."
R. Kelly has been charged with multiple counts of sexual assault.
I have videoing you. Come meet me.
I finally got around to watching that documentary. It was a reality of things that gone for years and everybody rejected. Black women had been talking about this story since 1991. Surviving R. Kelly accomplished making America listen to these stories.
Surviving R. Kelly was the #1 trending topic on Twitter during its debut. People were talking about it everywhere. This is not something that he's going to be able to sing his way out of.
Investigators credit
The docuseries Surviving R. Kelly helping them do their case. Kill R. Kelly! 30 days dropping him from the label. When you start messing with somebody's money, crazy jumps out. Don't tell me this, Robert. When you trace what R. Kelly has been accused of doing for years, you not only see a series of abuses, you also see a series of cover-ups. He has used his celebrity status to victimize countless young women.
R. Kelly's former manager was arrested for allegedly threatening to kill him. His manager threatened to kill my whole entire family.
Let's just pause right there. I'm going to go back over the rest, but let's just pause right there, because that was the biggest thing I had a problem with. Trying to figure out why this James Mason guy was arrested for allegedly threatening the Savages. However, you have Tim Savage on record saying Don Russell is the person who threatened him. Why is it okay for these fake-ass accusers to be filing these fake and false police reports, all with an agenda to further their storylines? According to this, Timothy stated him and his wife are involved with the Lifetime documentary, Surviving R. Kelly. Their involvement with the documentary is why they are receiving threats from Don. Don texted Timothy at approximately 0500 from phone number, telling him it would be in his best interest that him and his family if the documentary doesn't air. Don later called Timothy while I was at the residence. Timothy placed the phone call on speakerphone so I could hear the conversation. Don says several times that Timothy is providing Lifetime false information, and if he continues supporting the documentary, that the R. Kelly, Don would be forced to provide information disproving Timothy. Don advised Timothy that the information would ruin him, his reputation, business, and family, because it would show him a liar. I obtained a written statement from Timothy. Yet nowhere in there do you see James Mason, the man who was arrested. And nowhere in there do you see "I'm going to kill you" being reported.
My daughter calling me from school. Just people started DMing me and saying, count your days. And that's what I knew. Like, something powerful is in this documentary, and someone's trying to make sure it's not ever seen.
No, it's not something powerful in the documentary. It's lies filled in this documentary by people so bold enough to get on the public display and tell these lies with no repercussions.
Everybody's trying to profit off of our selling. This is in no way what happened in 2000. These charges, make those charges with free church victims. There are multiple tapes, multiple jurisdictions, and the victim is cooperating with police. It's game set match.
Whoever's acting like they didn't know is lying.
America has not held abusers accountable.
This is us, America. This is us letting this happen.
I haven't seen my sister in over 3 years. Joycelyn Savage.
I was a part of the suicide. If he was to go to jail, I was supposed to kill myself. Now this the fucking icing on the cake here. Now, call me crazy. Geronda Pace, you didn't start no relationship allegedly till 2009 after his trial. You ended it in 2010. When was he at risk at going to jail to where you had to take part in this fake-ass suicide plot? The lies I cannot take.
And that's how you get emotional. What were you wearing that R. Kelly was attracted to? Why did you present yourself as older than you were?
People look at some of these allegations and they blame the parents, or they blame girls, where they shouldn't be blaming people, is where the blame belongs. And that's on R. Kelly and his enablers. Period.
I ain't stop. I'm not gonna stop. I just felt like not to die my daughter. I am my daughter's keeper. You see him now to get out. I'm gonna keep doing whatever I can to get my money. I know that age of 40, 5 studies has proved 40 women can't be lying.
Dominique, you ready?
Tape allegedly have individuals on the tape that are underage. Therefore, if anybody looks at those tapes, has them in their possession, they are guilty of a crime. You cannot possess or share or give to anybody else a CD, a DVD, whatever it is, with underage children. And we know for a fact that these tapes supposedly from Mr. Avenatti have also gone to CNN. Different people from CNN have actually talked about these tapes, and so we know that they've seen them. All of those different levels at this point are simply being looked over, and so that they can focus here on the Robert Kelly's case. That they've seen them. All of those different levels at this point are simply being looked over, and so that they can focus here on the Robert Kelly's case. And frankly, what we're saying is those are felonies, and how are they aiming? And you heard in the court today, judge telling us, that we are not to disseminate them, which obviously of the court we know that we wouldn't. But what about what's gone on that got us to this point?
We are following breaking news about R&B singer R. Kelly. Attorney Michael Avenatti says he has a videotape allegedly showing Kelly engaging in graphic sex with an underage girl. Now, Avenatti claims this is a different VHS tape than the one used in another criminal case against the star in 2002. And this newly surfaced tape has been handed over to prosecutors in Kelly's hometown of Chicago. This is in addition to an investigation already underway following an exclusive Lifetime documentary that featured multiple interviews with women who say they were sexually abused by Kelly, some when they were in their teens. CNN has viewed this tape in question, and CNN Sarah Seidner is following this for us in Los Angeles. Also here with us is CNN legal.
I would say we're not seeking to make a case, but we are seeking to make sure that law enforcement has.
The woman that has had all these damn press conferences is not seeking for a case for her clients. She just want to offer so-called witnesses to get an indictment and get a conviction. Okay.
All relevant information has an opportunity to interview any potential witness, and then they'll make the decision. That's not a decision for us to make, but of course they'll be interested in whether any individual to whom they speak would be willing to testify under oath, because that's important. And so we'll have to wait and see. I don't have any comment on the evidence that I have. I will say this. If I have any, if I acquire any videotapes, I will not be showing them to the press. I will not be sharing them. They will be provided to law enforcement if I have the permission of the person who has or will provide them.
Sounds like you're upset with Mr. Avenatti.
I have no comment about him. This is about R. Kelly. I'm just saying that if there's any videotape of a minor being sexually abused by anyone, that is not something that I believe should be shared with the press. I don't know whether he did or didn't. This is not about him. I represent, as I say, a number of victims, and they are very concerned because a number of them believe that they either were or may have been recorded. And the idea, would any mother or father want a videotape, a DVD, any other type of electronic recording of their child being sexually abused by anyone? Would anyone want that turned over to the press? Absolutely. I have never met a parent who would want that. I don't believe there's any justification for that. Turn it over to law enforcement, that's fine. But not to any other individual. I don't care whether the press or not. It should not be shared or viewed by anyone.
Now I'm going to try not to make this video too long, but I see a lot of curious people on the internet right now, so let me just fulfill some thoughts for you. Now, it would be freaking awesome if Tom Messerow could have been R. Kelly's attorney, because I guarantee he probably would have shut all this bullshit down. But I'm just finna give you light to the shady people that surviving R. Kelly has given the spotlight to and has piqued a lot of your curiosity. And I'm going to show you what an attorney should have been doing on R. Kelly's behalf.
His suggestion that somehow that Andrea did this for money, if in fact she did accept a financial settlement as a result of a civil lawsuit, which by the way is quite common. I have many cases that we settle. There is a financial settlement, there is a confidentiality clause, and sometimes there's a criminal case as well. Nothing wrong with that.
See how she just set the stage up for future reference, getting Bill Cosby convicted. Now we could come back for all these women who have signed non-disclosures, who have settled, and all this other bullshit, instead of seeking so-called justice, who can now come back and press criminal charges against people.
Victims have options. They have both options. They can exercise one or the other or both. If a DA will agree to prosecute, sometimes not, and then they proceed with a civil.
Usually, as she says, the DA will not prosecute based on the fact that people have settled. Yet, as we see with this case with R. Kelly, that's not the case.
Lawsuit, they have every right to do so. They shouldn't be attacked for seeking compensation for for their therapy, for their medical bills, for their pain and suffering. They are empowered if they do that, and they have every right to do that. And I resent any suggestion by any defense attorney, and many, many defense attorneys make the suggestion that somehow they only did it for money. Because most victims I know would rather not have been victimized and would rather not have to file a civil suit and hope that that would never have happened.
How do you respond to that, Tom? Well, first of all, many celebrities are victims of false accusations, and they'll pay money to end the ordeal and spare their family having to go through all this. Michael Jackson freely admitted that he paid almost $20 million to spare his family, an O.J. Simpson type situation. He went to trial and he was exonerated of every allegation, 10 felonies and 4 misdemeanors. He was completely cleared. And I'd like to know who Ms. Ulrich's clients were 40 years ago. What were their morals? What was their behavior like? Did they go to parties where drugs were handed out? Did they bring drugs to those parties? Why did they approach Mr. Cosby? What did they want to get out of the relationship? I'd like to know who they really were. They need to be thoroughly investigated. Their backgrounds need to be thoroughly checked, and they have to be aggressively questioned to find out exactly what happened and what didn't happen. This is 40 years later, and suddenly they're all coming out making these accusations. Something seems wrong to me.
Well, it doesn't seem wrong to me at all.
Tom, there are, about 50 accusers now? Surely they all can't be looking for money. Well, they're not. Most of them are not going to be able to sue. It's too late. So what are they looking for? Who are they? What are their value systems? What were they like 40 years ago? What do they intend to get from their relationship or their involvement with Mr. Cosby? How did they behave? What did they agree to? Remember, in the 60s and 70s, drugs were being handed out at parties, clubs, left and right. People of both sexes were bringing quaaludes and all sorts of things and using them freely. It was a different society then. I'm not involved in this case. I don't know the facts of what really happened, but I'm very skeptical of this many women suddenly jumping on the bandwagon 40 years later when times have changed, long after they could have made claims to the police or whatever. Something seems wrong to me. Gloria, have any of
Let me help you out, Tom. Let me help you out. Because you hit the nail. You got all these so-called victims imitating what they've seen. You think it's a coincidence how these so-called accusers have one by one fell out? Some of them still are clicked up. But you should just pay attention to those who have separated themselves, like Lisa Van Allen here, Andrea Kelly. So what more do you have to be curious about as far as what more can they say? Let's pick up what Tom was saying. Why haven't these so-called accusers been questioned in detail about their lifestyles instead of trying to make themselves into a victim? There's a difference in taking accountability for choices you've made and trying to collect a bag for a juicy story. Let's just take the name, for example. The Reckoning. Sound like some horror shit to me. But hey, this is the type of imagery they want to give the black male anyway. Keep all this negative focus on R. Kelly. Label his accusers sex slaves, etc. But turn a blind eye to the real sex trafficking that goes on with the politicians and all the high, powerful elite. Same person that wants to bring you this surviving R. Kelly back to back has his own child porn and sex abuse convictions. That's right, convictions, not allegations. But they want to keep shifting the blame. Same person spending so much to defend Harvey Weinstein and all the other people he was affiliated with. Epstein, for example. The same Epstein who intentionally used underage girls, sex trafficked them to political figures in an effort to blackmail them. That same person wants to keep bringing you this surviving R. Kelly to spark your curiosity, they say. They definitely don't want to spark your curiosity when it comes to them. And what's sad is they will so freely use people that look like you to tear you down after they have allowed you to reach a certain level, which is quite interesting. You go back and Google any legendary artist, just watch what happened to them. You got the Frankie Lyman story, which they capitalized on. You got Sam Cooke. You got so much that has been put before you that lets you know these record labels and these broadcasting companies work together to brainwash you. Same broadcasting with this one-eye symbolism wants to come. That's affiliated with Sony Records wants to come. And look how they started off. But y'all still holding on to hope. Why is it that every black male entertainer that is accused of something has fallen from grace or is disgraced? That ain't how they introduced Harvey Weinstein or nobody of that nature.
The second installment of a docuseries about disgraced R&B star R. Kelly premieres tonight on Lifetime in Surviving R. Kelly Part 2, The Reckoning. We hear from accuser Dominique Gardner. She appeared in the first Lifetime documentary seen by nearly 30 million people. Now Gardner is sharing her story for the first time on camera. R. Kelly faces sex crime charges in New York and Illinois. Those charges include child pornography, transportation of minors, and racketeering. R. Kelly pleaded not guilty and is in federal custody, awaiting trial.
It's like I didn't want to live anymore. You know, it was just dark.
The new docuseries tells the story of R. Kelly accuser Dominique Gardner. Gardner, now in her late 20s, says she spent 9 years with R. Kelly before leaving him last spring.
I get a knock at the door. It's my mother and camera crew.
She says she left Joycelyn Savage, one of Kelly's current so-called girlfriends, behind.
It was hard for me because that's not my heart. Like, I just don't leave people hanging. People are very convinced.
Last March, Gayle King interviewed Savage and another alleged R. Kelly girlfriend, Azriel Clary.
Can you both communicate and see your parents whenever you want?
Yes, of course we can, but we choose not to because of what the things they have done out here to the world, saying that we've been held captive, become sex slaves.
Accuser Faith Rogers also appears in the series.
Hey, text and phone calls. I had to change my number.
Rogers says she was 19 when she met Kelly at a party after a concert in Texas. 2 months after they met, Rogers claims Kelly recorded them having sex without her consent and knowingly gave her a sexually transmitted disease. Rogers says she left Kelly after about a year and filed a lawsuit against him. We first interviewed her in May of 2018.
He asked me how old I was.
My name is Dominique Gardner, and I'm quite sure you all heard about my mother, Michelle Kramer. And I'm here to let you all know the truth about her, expose her, the liar she truly is. Now I know you guys are probably judging me like, oh, how her daughter just gonna put her mother out there like that, but truth be told, she put me out there like that, so it's only right that I come back and tell you guys the truth, because she's been putting lies out there, and I'm here to tell the truth. First of all, my mother, she knows where I live. She came all the way to LA, pretending like she was sick, tricking me into coming to see her outside of my hotel door, which I did open, because as a daughter, you think your mother's sick, so what do? You want to be there for her. But in this case, came with a camera crew from Lifetime. And when I opened the door, she ambushed me with cameras. Took me off guard. And I closed the door on her. Because that's wrong. She's trying to make it seem like I'm held captive by R. Kelly. And that's not the case. I am not a victim. And what's funny is that I just spent the whole weekend with her.
What's even funnier to me is after this video leaked, people kept talking about, oh, this is old. How in the hell could this be old when she's detailing her mother coming with the Lifetime crew with Surviving R. Kelly? At the end of the day, it's just an example of the bullshit that was presented the first time. So why are you still holding on to hope?
You're going off hearsay, but I got your number. I got your number. You shit, your ass is gonna be done. Real talk, because I don't fuck around when it comes to somebody calling doing death threats. No. That Faith needs to get her ass checked. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna check her motherfucking ass.
Okay,
That's
well,
when I pulled her mama to the side. We was in that goddamn room. And I told her mom, I said, you need to check your daughter. I got 4 hours of motherfucking audio tape and videotape. You need to check that bitch and put her where she belongs. Because her ass is like a loose cannon right now. The people in there in boxes when they motherfucking ass like a loose cannon.
okay, wait, calm down. I was waiting on the perfect time to interrupt because I can tell you're upset. No, it's okay. Well, I'm trying to get an understanding. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so Faith is just upset with Jalen. Like, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I'm like, what the fuck is she upset with Jalen? Jalen don't even say nothing to nobody. Jalen don't even want to be a part of this R. Kelly shit. To be honest with you, Jalen got some other shit going on. She don't even want to be a part of this shit. She could have been messing with Summer when Summer was saying all this shit about Offset. She could have easily done an interview with this shit. I told Jalen, leave that shit alone. You know what I'm saying?
But what I'm trying to understand is, what is Summer to Faith? Because Kelly kept calling her sister.
Yeah, they've been growing up together since day one, from childbirth.
Also, this is just the type of shit they do. They just set celebrity. Well, I don't know. Because the Summer thing is...
You're right. You're saying the right thing. You're saying it right.
See what I mean? This the type of people y'all want to keep entertaining and being curious by. People who target celebrities trying to chase a bag and set them up. Let's give you a walk down memory lane since people are so oblivious to what goes on because, hey, average people like me, we don't have these problems. People ain't seeking us out trying to set us up. But let's just give you a prime example because maybe some of y'all don't remember Superhead, Korean Steffens, people like Cat Stacks, all these people who were so-called video vixens doing the most for a bag. So now in today's world, we're going to call these groupies victims? Yeah, right.
The hoe of all hoes. She's vindictive. She's whack. Corinne is nuts. The lady is a tramp.
Diaries, and I try not to get too personal. Because
I think you said exactly what you did. It was, you knew that my nickname was nothing.
Let me tell you something, though, bitch. Get your information together. You've never seen my dick. You've never seen no parts of it.
And I realized I changed the world.
Without Corinne, there'd be no Amber Rose, and without Corinne, there would be no cast of Love and Hip Hop. Corinne's rebellious behavior even inspired numerous copycats, like Selena Powell, the infamous Sydney Starr, and even the self-proclaimed queen of world star hip hop, Cat Stacks.
For those who don't know who I am Cat Stacks. I'm the girl that has the whole internet going nuts. I'm the one who exposed Young Money. Yes, I have screwed the whole Young Money clique. And you know why they call them Young Money? Because they ain't got no grown-ass money. They're all motherfucking roommates. So that song they made, I Can Make It Better Rock. No, I Can Make It Burn Big Rock. That's a real motherfucking song, okay? Their old motherfucking roommates in a dirty ass motherfucking carpet living ass apartment.
But cast
So that's a little bit of why I don't respect these people coming forth as victims. Take Lisa Van Allen, for example. She ain't giving you her full backstory. If you ask me, she was an adult by the time she met R. Kelly, yet she has gone on these platforms to give herself a younger age to fit the narrative, which is perfectly fine with her, considering all that she done regarding the extortion of R. Kelly and this infamous sex tape. Lifetime won't tell you how the extortion plot has already been exposed years and years ago, but people don't like to do research. They like to go with what the media tell them. They're in for. So many people want to keep saying that's R. Kelly on the tape. My problem with that theory is, if you go back to the first trial, you'll recall that that tape was duplicated and sold to many, 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 many people. So to be sitting here acting all crazy when you hear tapes have been handed over, well, any Tom, Dick, and Harry can have a copy of that sex tape which was put on display and sold to the public. Yet the facts remain the same. Lisa Van Allen told you she was on the tape, then gets on these platforms and try to take herself out of the tape. But that would be illogical to believe. And it's already been exposed that her baby daddy, Damon Pryor, has admitted to being on the tape. If you go to any of these images they have on the internet, you'd be a fool to think this is R. Kelly. It's not adding up. Then you got the creepy porn lawyer, Michael Avenatti, who so anxiously was on this Surviving R. Kelly, who has said setting up the golden goose was the easiest thing to do, especially when you can follow in behind all this negative publicity which has been allowed to defame this man's name. They won't tell you about the other people who were identified in the sex tape, nor the extortion that was pointed out and reported to the FBI. All they want to do is keep feeding you the bullshit that fits their narrative. But it don't make sense. That tape was date stamped 1999, yet they want to give you this time period which it could have been filmed. Well, if it could have been filmed in this time period, how are you going to identify a minor? All this can be found on the internet still to this day. And to this day, I will still say that is not R. Kelly. You can guarantee Lisa Van Allen's baby daddy, neither of the three will be featured to talk about her character, nor will any of these so-called accusers have to answer to their character. But let's talk about it. The woman feeding so much energy out here, Cheryl Mack, wants to stay in the back. For those of you who don't know, that is London on the Track's mother. And somebody told me that Barry Hankerson is London's manager. I don't know how true that is, but it would make you think. even if he's not, it's kind of hard for me to take her serious when we watch what's going on with this girl and her career. That is London on the Track's girlfriend, and how she's talking about social anxiety. I wonder why. You got parents so willingly to give their kids up to the highest bidder, and then want to sit here and feed narratives to the public about somebody else. Makes no sense to me. Michael Avenatti, so quick to talk about abuse, but he's very abusive according to reports to his partners. How does that make sense? And not only that, he has plenty of cases awaiting for his extortion. So how can any evidence turned in by this fraud be credible, when even the post he made alone, you can clearly see the Photoshop in the picture? All these people collectively are on the same mission. And even though Geronda tried to separate herself from Avenatti, too much has already been said. And she has already said way too many lies to still be even given a little bit of attention. The desperation is crazy. To even go so far as to say she's found this so-called signature from R. Kelly. Every time Surviving R. Kelly or something to trend R. Kelly is out there, you see these women trying to promote their bullshit. And I just find it odd. She's on her page detailing her love affair with her uncle. But on these stations talking about R. Kelly took her virginity. Where is her mother? Oh, she's the one who really got the benefit from Geronda's so-called settlement. It would make sense why they no longer communicate when Geronda Pace is out here again trying to get another bag. Latrina may have sexual offenses. Latrina may have been convicted of a current sex offender status. I wasn't even finna go all into detail with that, but again, since we're gonna keep entertaining this daughter, why don't we get the mother to explain why her daughter was out here at the age of 14, 15, stalking a trial with an adult ID, stating she was an adult. She went into this trial and watched this so-called child porn tape and still was at R. Kelly's defense. And people don't think she could have taken that and went to the same attorney that everybody else is being referred to try to get money out of this situation. And it's kind of funny. They got all this money, but got all this trash in the back. That's very ironic and would make sense as to why they want to come forward. At the end of the day, it's clear as day that Geronda Pace, same girl on this docuseries, chased this man down. And who knows if there was even a real relationship, considering she's pointed out having an affair with somebody else. But all these people keep coming to my videos commenting, this is the reason why victims don't want to come forward. First of all, if you are the victim, who does not go and report a crime to the police department, but instead goes to an attorney and the press, don't fucking feel no type of way about nothing I say, because at the end of the day, it's your fucking fault. If you are a victim, there are things you're supposed to do, such as go to the hospital, get checked out, go to the police department. That is what you are supposed to do. So don't be sitting here with this Me Too bullshit, feeling sorry about decisions you've made in your life and now you want money for it. Before surviving R. Kelly, this Javonta character was working at the dollar store. The way her character looks, can she really be credible? Y'all keep saying these people don't know each other. That's absolute bullshit. As far as these people I have yet to do a video on, such as Tracy Sampson, her story can be looked up. There's no need to watch the docuseries to see her story. It's just the same. How is it impossible for people to be fed the same story? I don't get it. So you're telling me with every single relationship, a man is going to be the same? I disagree. A man switches up. Just my opinion. But the thing with that is, these people can't even stick to their stories. Even with this Tiffany Hawkins. To say that she had a relationship with R. Kelly starting at 1991 and ending when she turned 18, which prompted her to want to commit suicide. She probably will tell that part, but will she go in depth about how she tried to pin a baby on R. Kelly, which was not his, prompting him to countersue her? But it just goes back. Why are they saying this man is such a predator, but the only accusers they can come out with are people that have been on record taking settlements, money, instead of seeking so-called justice? To sit here and paint this bullshit narrative that nobody would have believed them is absolute bullshit if they had reported their crimes. But the thing is, if you continue to watch these press conferences with Gloria Allred, you will come to find out most of these so-called accusers haven't even spoken to the police department. You want to know why? In my opinion, because if you go down there and file a false report, that is a fucking crime. So if you can try to get this bag without committing a crime, wouldn't you want to do that? I'll end this video with this. As I said months ago, I'll repeat again. Lifetime should be canceled. Not just because of R. Kelly, but because of what has gone down with R. Kelly. It should have made you all realize the levels that these broadcasters are willing to go to manipulate your mind. So why continue to be brainwashed with propaganda? It's okay to start researching facts for yourselves. But at the end of the day, the title alone lets you know that this is not going to be anything that benefits changing the narrative and seeking real justice for victims. People keep assuming that even to this day, if there were a real victim of R. Kelly, they won't be taken seriously. Well, it's just made harder because of all these fake-ass accusers being exposed. But at the end of the day, in the court of law, you have to prove your case. Not run with he say, she say. And every citizen deserves a fair trial. And with all this propaganda being put out there against this man, how can anyone hope he will receive a fair trial when we are not actively campaigning against this coon bullshit? Enough is enough. Cancel Lifetime. And by the way, I forgot. I'm so rude. I'm sorry. Happy New Year's. And shout out to everybody supporting the channel. I appreciate that. Come to find out, YouTube has found a way to just completely take all the little coins I did collect last year. But it's cool. Shout out to those contributing to the Cash App as well. Have a great night. And cancel Lifetime.